Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. I have my buddy Matt, who's been on this podcast many times. How are you, buddy?
Hey Jerry, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We were just talking about before we started this episode how big your beard's getting. I think if we watched the episode where you were on, what, a couple weeks ago, your beard was just starting to now.
You can see it grow over the weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you can't see the gray.
Yeah. It's a diet. Anyway, buddy, we have two big things to talk about today. Pretty much news. Um, we're gonna talk about the new restaurant that's coming in Nashville, and we are going to talk about what John said about the future of Bon Jovi today. So let's start with the restaurant thing. So we've heard rumors in the last 2 years that there was talk about John opening up his own Honky Tonk bar and grill restaurant in Nashville. And I remember, I think it was last summer, we heard like there was like a deal that was signed, and so we knew that it was definitely coming. We just didn't hear any news about it. And then back in November, December, you know, let me back up a little bit. So for months and months, we didn't hear any development, no news or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, we saw on social media back in November when the band was in Nashville recording the new album that John and David, did Tico go too? Or
I
somebody
didn't
else?
see.
It might have just
I
been John
didn't.
and David.
Yeah, I think it was just John and David. I don't remember seeing Tico there, but I think the band was in town, maybe doing some work or something in the
Yeah,
studio.
it was during the same time they were recording the album. But anyway, so John and David went to the same site. Went to the site where they're going to be building this place. This I think it's on Lower Broadway, if I remember correctly. Um,
Correct.
and then so that's obviously we saw a photo today of John and David wearing hard work hats and vests and stuff. You know. Um, so anyway, so today we found Rolling Stones and some other reliable media sources put out news that the new Honky Tonk Bar and Grill is supposed to come out in spring. So we'll read that article here in a second, but what are your initial thoughts on it before we kind of get into detail?
Well, like you said, I mean, we kind of knew it was coming. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of surprised in the article. It was kind of talking about opening up the spring, and I was kind of surprised by that, which I'm excited for. I've been looking for a good reason to go to Nashville, so this is
Yeah.
perfect.
Well, just like you and I were messaging earlier, guys trip. You, me, and a few others, and just go out for a weekend and enjoy it. Because there's so much to do
Absolutely.
in Nashville. But so adding that to the list is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it because I think it's kind of great to have a Bon Jovi themed restaurant. Obviously, it's not. I think some people are going to wonder, is it a soul kitchen? I don't think it is. I think it's more of like how Chase Atkins or Luke Bryan or Blake Shelton, they all have their own places that I think John's just adding to the mix. But let's dive into the article and then we'll kind of talk about what our hopes are for the place.
Okay.
So Rolling Stone, who's 100% reliable. The headline is John Bon Jovi is opening his own Nashville honky tonk. I hate saying that word.
Yeah. Sounds like Nashville.
Yeah. A New Jersey legend, John Bon Jovi, just in case you didn't know, setting up shop in Nashville. John has officially announced, it's fine. It says John Bon Jovi has officially announced plans. He hasn't announced anything yet today.
No.
We got all of our news from social media. Plans to open a massive bar and restaurant in the city's lower Broadway entertainment district. JBJ's Nashville. I wonder if that's what it's going to be called. It seems like it.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way.
Yeah, that could be. Is scheduled to open this spring, though an exact date has yet to be revealed. The venue purports to be the tallest and second largest bar by square footage on Lower Broadway. We're looking forward to having a place in Nashville that we call home, John Bon Jovi said. He went on to say that Bon Jovi's deep roots are in Nashville. They've had a wonderful time in Nashville, recording several albums and working with some of the finest people in all the music business. He can't wait to toast all of Broadway and get to know the neighbors. Late last year, Bon Jovi and his band filmed a music video for a new Christmas song, which, as we know, Christmas isn't Christmas. JBJ's Nashville. I think that's what it is going to be called because they keep hinting at that. JBJ's Nashville will be at 405 Broadway. the site of the former Merchants Restaurant with entrances on Broadway and Fourth Avenue. Development of the bar was spearheaded by the Nashville-based investment company Big Plan Holdings. And let me just kind of go over the important stuff here. Yeah, that's pretty much the to that end, Bon Jovi is far from the first artist to open a bar, which we just went over that. Other people have opened bars are Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan, Miranda Lambert, Jason Aldean. The list goes on. Um, that's pretty much it. They kind of talk about the history of Nashville and stuff. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I think JBJ's Nashville is pretty cool. Although I wish it was kind of like obviously it's going to be Bon Jovi themed inside. I think they're going to have there was a photo that was posted somewhere. I think it was like a concept of how the state there's going to be like a mini stage where bands, local bands can play, the restaurant, and then TVs and stuff. And the TVs they had a little bad name clip in there, so maybe they'll play Bon Jovi videos.
Yeah,
I
and you got to assume they're going to have a little bit of memorabilia in there. I don't know if the other bars in downtown Nashville have memorabilia in them or not. I know they have the names, but
Yeah.
um,
So
I don't.
we went to Luke Bryan's, I think, when my family and I we went to vacation a few years ago,
Okay,
and they had some of his memorabilia up. So I imagine, especially because they've been digging into the vaults for the 40th, I
right,
have to imagine that they're going to have plaques and some, John's personal guitars and stuff. Kind of like a hard rock. You got to have that kind of stuff up. And
for sure.
so I'm kind of glad that the grand open is going to be here in the spring.
Yeah,
Obviously, fans like you and me, we're going to flock and be there hopefully for it, and it's going to be exciting. I
yeah,
don't know. What are your
yeah.
hopes for it?
Uh, well, I mean, I guess my first hope would, yeah, the grand opening. I think John himself needs to be there. So, along with you and I, but
Exactly.
um, I, I don't know. I'm excited. I've always wanted to go to Nashville and hit up some of those bars and listen to some music. I've never done it, so this is really gonna give me the interest to
Yeah.
go down there and check it out. So,
Yeah. My thing is, um, I like I said, I'm assuming it's going to be the whole band themed, not just John, which, it's called JBJ's Nashville, so it kind of makes you want. Either way, we're gonna love it. We're fans. We're gonna love it.
right,
Um, Obviously, me as a collector, I'm hoping there's merch. I sound silly saying that, but it's true. I really hope that there'll be merch because me, I'll go right into the store and one of probably two of everything. One, as a collector's item, one to wear, because I'm
I
crazy.
I can't imagine they're not having some sort of merch there.
Oh, you
I'd be
have to.
highly shocked. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, other places have it too because it also helps to, support the place, keep its doors open essentially, pay the employees and stuff like that.
for
So
sure.
now obviously we're talking John Bon Jovi here, which he can afford it, but it's kind of like the Soul Kitchen. Eventually you want the Soul Kitchen to be able to support itself without John having to fund it, reasonably so.
Yep.
So yeah, I can see merch happening. And of course we're on Lower Broadway too, and that's like the biggest tourist section of Nashville. So people are going to go there all day long, every day. Um,
I
would it
know
be?
the Friends in Low Places, the one that Garth Brooks just opened up. I
Yeah.
know it had merch, and they actually started selling the merch before the actual bar opened up.
Oh, really?
I kind of keep up with him just a little bit, and I do remember they had done. They opened up. I want to say a week or two before the actual bar opened, and you could buy the stuff online as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, we know a lot of fans are going to be going, including you and I. So I'm looking
Oh,
forward to it. Unfortunately, there's no other news about it. John hasn't even publicly posted it. I know, obviously the social media outlets have posted it. On Instagram, there's an official Instagram page called JBJ Nash. I saw you
yep.
followed them already too.
Oh yeah.
And nothing on Twitter yet. So I'm assuming John will probably post about it here in the next few days. You know how it is. The diehards find out about everything before the band even posts it. So it's the way it goes these days. So, um, anything else you want to say about that for our next topic?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, so we start off with something exciting, and now we're kind of going into something that's not as exciting. So you watched it. So anybody that hasn't watched it yet, John was a keynote speaker. What was the seminar called? How to Rock a Million Faces or something like that? Something like that.
Uh, I think so. Yep.
Anyway, so there was a seminar for Polestar Live, and John was a speaker. He wanted a milestone award. And so during the Q&A, the speaker had asked John, "What are your future plans with Bon Jovi?" And John was pretty honest about it. And this is the very first time that he's talked publicly about this. He started to talk about his vocals and health, and he didn't get into detail, but it was the very first time that he's acknowledged it live. And before I say anything else, I want to say that John is and will always be my favorite singer. So no, um, but so John does talk about that for a second. Then he talks about how he doesn't want to go out there unless he's not great. And I think he's acknowledged you and me, we're going to go to the show no matter what. And I really hope there will be another tour. But judging from the few interviews that he did from Music Cares last weekend and what he said today, I don't know if we're going to get another tour. I really don't. It's up in question, how he kind of progresses with vocals and health and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I,
After watching the video, the same one you watched, I really felt like, the chances of there being a huge world tour, a big one's not going to happen.
yeah,
I could see them doing, I guess kind of like they did with the 2022 tour where they do, 15 dates or something like that. I could see them, starting out with that just to see if this health holds up. But you're not going to see another tour like honestly, even like this house is not for sale. I
I
would
don't
be
think so either.
surprised myself. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was kind of shocked that it kind of came out this way.
Yeah,
We all kind of knew that he'd had some issues there,
yeah,
but for this to be an event and then come out, and there was a lot that was implied. I guess it looks like the documentary is gonna to answer a lot of those questions, and
yeah.
it's the more I listened to it, it sounded like to me that he really wasn't for sure what the future holds. I think so much of it depends on the doctors and their advice and getting out there and trying it and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I think right now too. I think that there's just so much uncertainty on John's end, and what the future holds. You know, Hopefully we do see a tour, but like you said, if we do, I really don't think it's going to be even at the caliber of what 2022 was. Those 15 shows. What I am, and I was just talking with my wife about this. What I am guessing is going to happen if they're not able to tour ever again, or even just this year. I can still see John doing maybe a couple shows as a celebration of 40 years. Maybe a couple shows at the Garden or at the Sphere. I
Right.
hate to say just in the States because you got overseas fans that really want to see this band too. But John may not be able to do, and I say this respectively with love and kindness and all that. John may not be able to do back-to-back shows every night because it's going to put strain on him. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I kind of felt the same thing. It's like, I was really hoping to do multiple shows at Madison Square
you know,
Garden this year. And I kind of thought that after watching the video. It's like, man, I'm not quite sure if they're going to do, 2 night shows. They may have to take a night off. I guess time will tell.
yeah. So, what I think would be a really cool idea is if he just wants to do a couple shows, that's great. Hopefully, that show will sell out real quick because you got all the international fans, domestic fans that want to go. But like bring Richie on the show too, have Richie
No
and
doubt.
show and just make it a celebration of 40 years,
Agreed.
because a whole tour is a completely different animal than a couple nights,
Right.
and just make it a celebration. And I still don't think we're going to see the end of the band, though. I still think the band will continue on. I did like even today, like even though John kind of acknowledged that they may not go out and tour, that he's still excited about the new documentary coming out. There's a new album coming out. So I can still see stuff coming and going the next 5, 10, I don't know about 10. Tico's in the 70s now, and I don't know,
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm hoping for the best. I really am.
Well, and for the people that haven't seen the video that we're talking about, you know, John said that he was excited to go out and perform the new album that's coming out. So I do think he wants to go out and perform it.
Yeah.
It's just to the magnitude. What magnitude will that happen?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. And it sounds, judging from that, what he said too, that he kind of talks about his health and vocal issues on the documentary. So, and this will be the very first time that he really opened. And there's probably stuff that we don't know about that is going to be talked about. Maybe why. It
I
happens with
agree.
every singer, though. I mean, look at Steven Tyler. I think he just posted he's on the men, but Steven Tyler
Yeah,
has vocal. Every single singer at that age and who's done all these years of touring, it happens to everyone. So
it does. Yeah.
yeah. So, and like I
Um,
said, if go ahead.
I didn't want to change subject on you, but ACDC, their bucket list for me. I've never seen them perform live, and I watched the show that they did out in California back in October. Brian Johnson, you could tell, same thing. Like his voice just wasn't up to par. I mean, they're all getting older, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I still want to go see them. I don't really care. I'm not that critical of it. Bon Jovi's my favorite band, and I can promise you, if they're touring, I don't really care. I'm
Yeah.
going.
Exactly. Me too. We'll see what happens, man. Like right now, it's just all uncertain. There's no definitive answer on what's happening if it's the end of torn and stuff. I think it's just and nothing to it. Kind of like April of 2022 when John, pretty much said that this 15-date tour is just to see how well they can still do it and stuff. And so maybe just doing a few shows this year just to kind of test the waters, could be something.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that till you just brought it up. But
Yeah,
he did make that statement, and maybe, I kind of looked at it like, well, maybe there's some self doubt in there, maybe amongst him, maybe amongst the band members or whatever. But it very well could have been a vocal issue
yeah,
that they were just trying to see how well they could hold up. Um, yeah, doing a 15-date run. So I
yeah.
haven't thought of that.
And we saw John perform for the first. Obviously, John did something back in October, was it, where he did a couple songs with Kings of Suburbia.
Yeah,
And but he just did music cares last weekend, and I thought he sounded good for especially in Legendary. I thought he was great, and
yeah,
you
me too.
so I have hope. At the end of the day, I'm going to the show to have fun, enjoy it, and that's it. Because one day we're not going to be able to see this band, and I want to see them as many times as we can, before it's the end.
Yeah, yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I mean, the documentary coming up is exciting. All the things that's going along with the 40th. It's going to be an exciting year. But
Yeah,
you and I both know we want to see them perform live. I mean, that's what we all live for, and that's what John's good at it. The whole band's good at it. I mean, that's what we all want to see, even if it's just a few dates. So yeah, I hope for the band's sake and everybody else's sake, we
yeah,
do get to see, you know, several shows this year.
yeah. One last thought too. I was thinking we've talked about before. Did you do the documentary episode with me? When it was that you or was that somebody else? I can't keep
Um,
my episodes straight anymore. I've done so many the last few weeks. I know you were
I think
just
it,
we talked about something. Um,
yeah, I think it was somebody else.
yeah, but we talked about the documentary when it was announced, and "Thank You, Good Night," which is the title of the documentary. And we both know that John says it at the end of the show every night. So, but what I'm thinking too, if John was to say we're done touring, but maybe we'll do some shows, maybe we'll still put out some new music, but as far as touring goes, we're done.
Yeah,
That would be a great way to announce a few shows this summer or whenever and call them "Thank You, Good Night."
yeah,
you know?
Well, and he did kind of imply that he said in the clip that we saw on social media today that they came up with that title for a reason,
Yeah,
and he said that's kind of to be determined. So um,
yeah.
who knows? I don't want to say it. I know you don't. So we
Man,
just kind of leave it at
at,
that.
at that final show, man, you know I'll be there. I don't
Oh,
care if I have the furthest seat. I don't care if I have to sit in the bathroom. I will
I hear
be,
you. Me too.
and
Standing room only. I'm there.
I will be crying like a big baby with tears down my face. And
Yeah.
you know, I don't think we're gonna see like a Kiss end of the road. Obviously, Kiss was just that last tour for Kiss was just bad.
Right.
And I don't think John or the band would ever let their legacy go like Kiss did. I truly
No.
like John said today, he wants to go out if he's great.
Yep.
And to do a final tour and not be at what's what I'm looking for? At the what I'm saying, where he being great. If he's not great,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go out there. I respect that. I really do. But at least give us fans, overseas, domestic fans, give us a couple shows at least just to say thank you, to celebrate 40 years, and then that's it.
Yeah. I would be. I mean, I'd be surprised if there's got to be some sort of you know farewell if it happens.
Yeah, yeah, it has to.
I mean, yeah, got to. I mean,
Yeah. But
so
I don't see the end of the band though. I really don't.
I don't either. I mean, they just they're putting out a new album.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you. And then
I
you got runaway tours and that type of thing.
yeah.
So
I just see the end of Torn. I really do. I see some one-off shows every once in a while, some runaway trips.
yep.
And I just don't see Torn anymore. I really don't. So we'll see.
No, I mean John said it. It doesn't have the allure that it used to for him. So and I get it. I mean, it's got to be taxing on you as a person and on the family.
Yeah.
So
So we'll see what happens. Anything else you want to say about it?
no, I think that's it.
Perfect. All right, buddy. Stay on. Thank you for coming on. And
Thank you for having me.
see you next time.
All right.